right back at you with another one. This is T.Y.M.B's YouTube channel, and we are breaking down this paperwork today. If you have not done so already, man, I just dropped two hot off the press paperwork reads, man, from T-Roy, man, old block T-Roy, man. Go back and check that video out to get the full details around his homicide, man, and put all these rumors to bed. And you also dropped, man, no other than T.Y.M.B, Lil Chris, man. We dropped that too. So you haven't done so already, hit that backlog, man. Hit the videos tab and check those videos out. But before you do that, hit subscribe, man. Hit the subscribe button. We are on the road to 5,000 subs, man. I got about 4.6. We almost there. It is imperative, man, that you guys hit that subscribe button and thumb up these videos, man, as that's what helps gets my video out to new and potential subscribers, man. With all that being said, this is another T.Y.M.B member, man. We got none other than T.Y., man. T.Y. from the T.Y.M.B, who is named after, man. You know how O Block is named after OD. We got T.Y., man, of T.Y.M.B here, man. We got his homicide report fresh off the press. But before we get started, like I said, hit that like button, man. And if you notice, if you checked out the T.Y.M.B Lil Chris video, man, he was slain about 6 months after this, man. You know, let's see where all this stuff started at, man. These members, man, from 2009 to 2012, Chicago, the south side of Chicago was in an uproar, man. Bodies dropping left and right, man. But we are here to break down who's done what, what's done what, and all that. So if you like that type of information, you need to subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get started, man. All right, we got a Chicago Police Department case supplementary report, clear, close, arrest, and prosecution report as the first document, man. All right, this was submitted on May 4th, 2010, man. It's a field investigation, clear, close, arrest, and prosecution report. We got a victim, one, Ederick Walker, black male, 17 years of age. We got an offender listed that is in custody, male, black, 17 years of age. And another in custody, a Centrell Lanier, man, male, black, 22-year-old in custody. All right. Then we also got another one in custody, a Roderick Brown, male, black, 19. All right, let's get to some of the details of this case, man. Let's see what's going on and how T.Y. come to meet his demise, right? So let's get it started, man. We got an investigation report here we're going through. We got a victim listed here as a male, you know, Ederick Walker. He's 17-year-old. Then we got this in custody individual, a Roderick Brown, male 1990 birth, and his nickname is Face. All right. We got another one, Centrell Lanier, male 122. His nickname is Taki. All right. Then we got another one, Quentin Glover, nickname Chicken. All right. And so here we go. We're getting into it. We know that those are the suspects that are in custody at this time. All right. And we got, let's see, zoom out a little bit. All right, cool. We got charges, first-degree murder. All right. And this was back in 2009. Okay. Let's keep going. They got some evidence here. Just looking to get down to an investigation. They had some witnesses. All right, we're here at the investigation. In the continuing Walker homicide investigation, the reporting detectives learned that Centrell Lanier was in custody in the Illinois Department of Corrections and that Quentin Glover was in custody in the Cook County Jail boot camp. The reporting detectives arranged for Lanier and Glover to be writ to Area 2 Violent Crimes for further investigation. Police Officer Gazik, Police Officer Baker accompanied the reporting detectives to Cook County Jail into the Cook County Jail boot camp where Lanier and Glover were placed in custody and brought to Area 2. Upon arrival of Area 2 Violent Crimes, Lanier was brought into interview room number 1 and Glover was put into interview room number 5. It should be noted that ERI was activated in each of these interview rooms, and all interviews conducted with Lanier and Glover were both audio and video recorded. On January 11, 2010, at approximately 22:35 hours, the reporting detectives conducted a lineup at Area 2 Violent Crimes. Glover and Lanier participated in this lineup. The lineup was viewed by Redacted, and Glover and Lanier were identified. The lineup is subject is the subject of a separate report. On January 12th, 2010, so a day after, at approximately 03:55 hours, reporting detectives advised Central Lanier of his rights per Miranda. He related that he understood those rights and invoked his right to counsel. At this point, the interview was terminated. On January 12, 2010, at approximately 15:10 hours, the reporting detectives conducted a lineup at Area 2 Violent Crimes. Glover and Lanier participated in this lineup. The lineup was viewed by a redacted individual. Glover and Lanier were identified. The lineup is subject of a separate report. The reporting detectives contacted the Felony Review Unit of the Cook County State's Attorney Office, and after a careful review of the course of the investigation, ASA recommended that Central Lanier and Quentin Glover be charged with one count of first-degree murder. With the arrest of subsequent charging of Central Lanier and Quentin Glover, the reporting detectives request that the investigation be classified as clear close arrest by arrest and prosecution. So they wholeheartedly believe that those two individuals were the ones that committed the murder of T.Y. All right, and we're going to get down into these documents. All right, we have a morgue report. This is in 2009. As I said, man, these were some of the most crucial, most vicious, most bloody times in the south side of Chicago back in the early 2000s, man. This is when the war in Chirac was first getting kicked off. And we can see how it got kicked off with the murder and the slaying of these kids, man. Investigation. On May 9th, right? Dr. Cogan performed an autopsy on the remains of Edric Walker and determined the cause and manner of death to be multiple gunshot wounds / homicide. Gunshot wound number 1, enter upper right chest, exit back of upper left arm at the tricep. Number 2, the upper right back of right thigh, lodge. Number 3, to upper right left side of right calf, lodge. Number 4, to lower inner side of right leg, lodged. Number 5, enter back of mid lower left leg, exit front lower left leg, left side of the leg. Number 6, to mid lower left palm, lodged. Internal examination: 1 large caliber copper jacketed bullet recovered, 3 small caliber copper jacketed bullets recovered. Alright, and we got another progress report here. This one is about 6 pages long, so we'll scroll through and see if we can find any new information. We know that he multiple gunshot wounds. The weapon appears to be 3 different calibers of weapon. Got a 25, a 22, and a 380, man. So they just sprayed this kid. Alright, offenders not shot numerous times at victim. Offenders shot numerous times at victims, as we just stated. We didn't even need to read that. Alright, and they got some evidence markers. Their cartridges are all over the place. Blood on the sidewalk. He had left his ID. He had his identification on him. Man, it's just sad. All right, on May 24th, 2009, at approximately 22:30 hours, reporting detectives were assigned by Sergeant Wright of this command to respond to 6524 South Evans for a homicide investigation. The reporting detectives were informed that a male subject had been shot on the street at that location. Reporting detectives were additionally informed that CFD ambulance number 55, this is a popular ambulance, had transported the victim to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, where he expired from his wounds and was pronounced at 22:20 hours. The reporting detectives immediately responded to the scene in furtherance of the investigation. Upon arriving on the scene, the reporting detectives noted and observed the 6500 block of South Evans to be a one-way northbound residential street. The reporting detectives noted and observed that the block, both brick and single-frame family house residences and apartment buildings situated on both the east and west sides of the street. The reporting detectives also noted several vacant lots on both the east and west sides of Evans. While on the scene, the reporting detective spoke to police officers Motwowski and police officer Chan and learned the following information. The police officers informed reporting detectives that unknown bystanders told the preliminary investigating officers that they heard a number of gunshots in the area and observed the victim, known as Edric Walker, running southbound on Evans. Walker ran into the front yard of 65 redacted South Evans and collapsed to the ground. Police officer Matowski then directed the reporting detectives to the west curb of Evans, where a vacant lot is located with an approximate address of 6500 South Evans. The reporting detectives observed several expended cartridge casings along the west curb. The reporting detectives conducted a further visual search of the area and discovered an additional expended cartridge case of the same approximate caliber as those found at 6500 South Evans. The reporting detectives observed a Kia sport utility vehicle parked at approximately 65 redacted South Evans with apparent bullet damage indicative of a fired bullet skipping off of the hood of and roof of the vehicle. Through the further through further investigation of the crime scene, the reporting detectives were able to determine the victim's direction of flight. The reporting detectives observed blood stains and drops on the sidewalk in front of approximately 65 redacted South Evans along the sidewalk. The reporting detectives then proceeded to the front yard of 65 redacted South Evans where the victim was discovered. The 003rd District personnel informed the reporting detectives that Walker was found lying face down in the dirt of the front yard with his head to the southwest and feet to the northeast prior to CFD removing the victim from the scene. It should be noted that Mobile Crime Lab Beat 9602 responded to process the crime scene and recover evidence. A canvass of the surrounding residences was conducted to locate any additional witnesses. The results of the canvass are documented in a separate supplementary report recorded under this Records Division number. The reporting detectives responded to Northwestern Memorial Hospital to examine Walker's remains. The reporting detectives noted that the victim has sustained a gunshot wounds to the upper right side of the chest near the right upper arm, to the inside of the right wrist, to the inside of the right calf muscle area, and to the inside of the right ankle. The reporting detectives noted a redacted. The reporting detectives were informed that Dr. Kontrick was the attending physician and pronounced Walker at 22:20 hours on May 21st, 2009. Walker's remains were then subsequently transported to the Cook County Medical Examiner's office, where a post-mortem exam will be conducted on May 22nd, 2009. This investigation continues and remains in progress with full reports to follow. Wow. All right. And this document we have is a polygraph document. This is actually one of the first polygraph documents I have seen. This is March 4th, 2010. All right, so let's get down into some of this information here. If you have not done so already, you want to hit that subscribe button and thumb up the video as I am dropping these paperworks just as they come in. We are dropping them. Turn your notifications on. We have an examination result is listed as inclusive. Excuse me for that. Case classification is a homicide. Examination result is inclusive. All right, which means they couldn't determine anything from this. Inconclusive. All right, progress lineup we have is some photos. We have the victims and the suspects' names as listed here, man. 3 offenders here. 2 suspects and 1 offender, excuse me. We're going to get down to these photo lineups here. We got a person viewing the lineup is completely redacted. Persons participating in the lineup would be 5 individuals, and number 3 is listed as a Roderick Brown. All right, the person identified, Roderick Brown. All right, history and investigation. On December 18, 2009, at approximately 23:20 hours, the reporting detectives conducted a lineup at Area 2 Violent Crimes in furtherance of the Walker homicide investigation. Roderick Brown participated in this lineup and was allowed to pick his own position. Brown chose position number 3. The lineup was viewed by Redacted, who positively identified Brown. So they let him pick his position in the lineup, and he was still selected out at that position that he chose. All right, so we have another progress report here for this investigation. and we're going to continue to scroll through this to see if we can get to some more information. We know the victim. We know the wanted individual. Here was listed as Face. We have another as Taki, and then we got another as Chicken. All right. And it's 3 different weapons, and I imagine this is for 3 different individuals who shot this kid, man. All right. On May 22nd, 2009, in this continuing investigation, the reporting detectives met with Redacted. Redacted was accompanied by Redacted at the time of the shooting. She stated that he had been walking with them home at the time of the shooting. Redacted reporting detectives that their names were redacted. She stated that she had heard that the offenders were affiliated with a local street gang which called itself Redacted. She stated that she wasn't sure, but she believed Redacted referred to the street Eberhard, and that the gang hung at 63rd and 64th in Eberhard and Rhodes. It should be noted that Eberhard is west of Evans, where Walker's murder had occurred, in the same direction the offenders had fled. Wow. Walker related that one of Redacted lived on the 65 Redacted block of Rhodes. The reporting detectives stressed the importance of interviewing Redacted regarding the shooting and left business cards with reporting detectives' contact information with Walker. Upon leaving Redacted apartment, the reporting detectives monitored a transmission of a shooting at the street memorial commemorating Walker's death. The shooting was subsequently learned to be probable retaliation for Walker's murder. The reporting detectives were aware from previous investigations that Walker was affiliated with a gang which referred to itself as Redacted, from the immediate streets east of Cottage Grove on 64th and 65th Street. Reporting detectives also learned that the 003rd District Tactical Unit had arrested several individuals for weapons violations at 64 Redacted South Roads. The reporting detectives were joined by Detectives Deneen and Detective Madden, who assisted in this investigation. The tactical officers had also recovered a number of guns. The reporting detectives responded to the 003rd District and met with police officers, and he related the following in essence but not verbatim. Police officer Paradis related that he and his team members responded to a shots fired call at 64th and Rhodes. Upon arriving at the scene, the officers observed a subject throw an unknown object into a grill and run. Police officer Padres and his partners chased this subject, and in the course of their investigation entered the apartment at 64 Redacted South Roads. Upon further investigation, the officers recovered 3 firearms, including a 25 caliber semi-automatic pistol, a 22 caliber semi-automatic pistol, and furthermore, including a 25 and it's okay. So, furthermore, the reporting detectives learned that a number of subjects had been taken into 003rd District. The reporting detectives interviewed Redacted, and he related the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted that he didn't know that the gun that he was arrested with was Redacted. It was explained Redacted that reporting detectives were not interested in the circumstances of his arrest, but if he had any information on the Walker homicide and what he knew about recent Redacted rivalry. Redacted that both gangs are feuding with each other, but he said that other gangs in the area were also feuding. Redacted denied being a member of Redacted, that the reporting detective should talk to Redacted regarding how the guns got redacted. Interesting. The reporting detectives interviewed Redacted and related the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted that he wasn't at Redacted when the police raided it. He stated that he received a call and Redacted and then was brought to the police station. He stated that he had heard about the shooting on 65th and Evans but was not involved. He further related that he was Redacted all night when the shooting occurred. He went on to relate that he didn't know how the guns got into Redacted. Redacted told that the guns were found Redacted and that whoever brought the guns into Redacted could have gotten Redacted in trouble. He admitted that he was Redacted member and reminded the reporting detectives that a feud was going on between Redacted, that the conversation might be different at some later point if any of the guns recovered in the house were tested and it was determined that they were used in the homicide. Redacted that he knew the guns were Redacted, but he didn't know how they got Redacted holding them redacted, him as redacted, known as Roderick Brown. Redacted that on the morning of the 21st of May, redacted, 25 caliber. Redacted chicken, known as Quentin Glover, had something to do with the shooting, but he didn't want type of involvement. Redacted, face and chicken hung out in order for the reporting detectives to search for their identities through department resources. When asked for further detail, redacted that chicken, redacted Glover. In the course of these interviews, the reporting detectives attempted to locate redacted in the department's database and in the neighborhood. The efforts were met with negative results. The reporting detectives were also contacted redacted, who related that she had spoken redacted, was going to try to locate redacted, bring them to the 003rd district to be interviewed by the reporting detectives. Redacted, the reporting detectives face had redacted been involved. Face had been involved in the shooting. Reporting detectives that Face redacted lived on Buffalo in the 80s. Redacted. The reporting detectives searched department databases for Chicken and Face and located computer-generated pictures of Quentin Glover and Roderick Brown. Redacted pictures and told the reporting detectives that Glover was the subject he knew as Chicken and Brown was known to him as Face. Redacted, he wasn't present at the shooting and wasn't going to say anything further, stating, redacted, Glover and Brown were affiliated with redacted. On May 22nd, 2009, the reporting detectives and redacted the 003rd district. Once there, the reporting detectives interviewed and she related the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted Walker, redacted Brown and two other male blacks walked up to Walker and said, "What's up, T.Y.?" Walker responded, "Man, I ain't on that," and they pulled out guns. Brown started shooting at Walker. Redacted, shooting and sparks coming from the gun. Redacted, stayed there. By this point, the offenders were shooting at Walker as he ran. Redacted, he ran south on Evans to a front yard in the middle of the block. Redacted, after the shooting, the offenders ran westbound on 65th Street. It should be noted that the offenders ran in the direction of redacted territory. Redacted, after the shooting stopped, redacted, Walker ended up in the front yard at 65 redacted South Evans. Redacted 911, redacted cell phone. Wow. It should be noted that throughout the interview, redacted, following in essence and not verbatim, redacted 65th Street from Cottage Grove with Walker. Two guys came up from the west side of Evans. Redacted near the corner of 65th and Evans. Redacted Brown was wearing a black hoodie with a white tee. Wow. And so T.Y. actually told him he wasn't on that, and they still shot him up, man. Y'all get down in the comments and let me know what y'all think about that. Reporting detectives received a phone call, redacted that the status of the investigation. He had heard that one of the offenders in the homicide had a nickname of Talk or something similar. He stated that he didn't know where Talk was from, but had redacted being shot in the past year. Through a search of the database, the reporting detectives located Centrell Lanier, who had been shot and redacted. Lanier was known to frequent redacted locations and used the nickname Taki. The reporting detective subsequently submitted the firearms recovered from redacted apartment on May 22, 2009 to the Illinois State Police Crime Lab for testing and analysis. The reporting detectives requested that the firearms be compared to recover firearms evidence on the Walker homicide scene. The reporting detectives' continued efforts to identify the .380 caliber firearm used in the homicide were met with negative results. On June 3, 2009, ISP Firearms Forensics Examiner notified the reporting detectives that the fire cartridge casings and fire bullets marked as exhibits number 6-1 through 1 through 6 through 3 were fired from the .25 caliber semi-automatic pistol recovered, redacted. The reporting detectives were also informed that there was an expended .22 caliber casing recovered on the scene and that it had been fired from the .22 caliber pistol recovered from redacted's apartment. On June 21, 2009, the reporting detectives re-interviewed redacted. She related the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted 65th Street from Cottage Grove, redacted Walker, redacted Brown, and two other male blacks approached Walker and said, "What's up, T.Y.?" Walker responded, I'm not on that. And Lanier pulled out a gun. The offender started shooting at Walker. Walker, redacted, runs southbound on Evans. Redacted, Gills stopped at the corner and stayed there. By this point, Brown and Lanier and Glover were all shooting at Walker as he ran. Redacted, he ran south on Evans to a front yard in the middle of the block. Redacted, the offenders ran westbound on 65th Street. It should be noted that the offenders ran in the direction of redacted territory. All right, and that is just insane. He ran to his death, man. Rest in peace to T.Y., man. Walker ended up in the front yard at this Evans address. Brown, Glover, and Lanier, redacted, identified all three subjects. The reporting detectives interview redacted. Carter related that she was walking west on 65th Street from Cottage Grove with Walker. Wow. So he ran to his death, man, and he told them that he wasn't on anything, and they still shot him dead, man. Wow. Rest in peace to T.Y. All right, we're getting into some of these other documents here. Looking for some new information that we have not read. If y'all haven't done so already, you definitely want to hit that subscribe button and thumb up the video. All right, and continuing the Walker homicide investigation, redacted was in custody. The reporting detectives contacted the ASA from calendar 52 and explained the nature, redacted, in the Walker investigation. After the reporting detective served redacted grand jury subpoena to appear at Homicide Sex Unit of the Cook County State's Attorney Office at Branch 66, ASA drafted a court order, redacted law enforcement authorities on August 4, 2009. In furtherance of the investigation, redacted was transported from redacted Homicide Sex Unit of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Redacted interviewed by the reporting detectives, and he related the following in essence and not verbatim. It should be noted that Sandra Benowitz, an assistant public defender and ASA from Cook County State's Attorney's felony review unit, were present. All right. Redacted put guns on tires on cars parked on the street on Eberhard. Redacted shotgun recovered from redacted at 64th and Rhodes in the past. Redacted under a board in a gangway. Redacted at 63rd and Eberhard. Redacted murder he saw Brown. Redacted the .22 caliber. Redacted security while he went to get something to drink. Redacted seen a .25 caliber that was recovered from redacted in the past. He stated that he saw Glover with it when he was redacted security. Redacted didn't know who in particular was involved in Walker's murder, but said everyone knew that Redacted had done the shooting. Redacted, he didn't know who was involved in Walker's murder. Redacted knew Redacted were fighting. Redacted dispute started at a party on Maryland 2 years ago. Redacted guns got into Redacted at 64 Redacted South Rose because this was the location Redacted used to store their guns. Redacted Brown with the .22 caliber 2 days before Walker was killed. At this point, ASAs left and the reporting detectives redacted related the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted. Glover and Brown started talking about the shooting. Redacted. Glover said, "We got that boy." Redacted. Glover continued to talk and said that Walker said something to the effect that he wasn't on that as he backed away from the shooters. Redacted. Glover said that was when he started shooting. Redacted. Brown replied to Glover and said, "Yeah, he didn't even see me behind that tree. I started blasting. He was running. I know I got that." Redacted. But now nobody knew where he was at. On August 8, 2009, the reporting detectives interviewed Redacted and he related the following in essence and not verbatim, and we got a big redaction block here. He didn't know anything about Walker being shot. Redacted, he was lying on the couch when a kid came in running and yelling that the police were outside. He stated that he didn't know anything about the guns recovered in the apartment. On November 18, 2009, reporting detectives re-interviewed Redacted at the Homicide Sex Unit of Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Redacted the same circumstances of the conversation between Glover and Brown as previously documented and added the following. Glover, redacted, "What happened to T.Y.? Redacted, Glover said, "We got that." And Brown joined by saying, "Yeah, we got it." Glover said that redacted Walker saying redacted, and Walker said, "I'm not on that." Glover redacted Walker was backing away saying, "I'm not on that." Glover redacted he started shooting and Walker ran. Redacted Brown started laughing as he described how he believed Walker hadn't seen him. Brown said, "Yeah, I came from behind that tree. I don't even think he saw me." Brown went on saying, "I started shooting at him. I got him." Redacted Brown and Glover. Redacted shots hit Walker. At the conclusion of the interview, Redacted identified redacted photos of Quentin Glover and Roderick Brown as the persons who made these statements. Redacted photo. Redacted interview by ASA assigned to the Homicide Sex Unit of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. In furtherance of this investigation, reporting detectives and the 003rd Tactical Officers attempted to locate Brown at the locations he was known to frequent. These efforts were met with negative results. In the continuing of this investigation, reporting detectives submitted an investigative alert for Roderick Brown on the 17th of December. On the 18th of December, the reporting detectives were contacted by police officers assigned to the 003rd District that Brown was the victim of an aggravated battery which occurred on 63rd and Eberhart and had been brought to the University of Chicago Hospital for treatment. Police officers explained that Brown had sustained a minor graze wound and would be treated and released. Brown was placed into custody upon his release and was transported to Area 2 Violent Crimes for further investigation. On December 18, 2009, at approximately 18:56 hours, Roderick Brown was put into interview number 1 at Area 2 Violent Crimes. It should be noted that the ERI was activated and all subsequent interviews with Brown were both video and audio recorded. At approximately 23:20 hours on December 18, 2009, the reporting detectives conducted a lineup at Area 2 Violent Crimes. Brown participated in this lineup, which was viewed by Redacted. Redacted identified Brown as one of the subjects they observed shoot Edric Walker. The reporting detectives contacted the Felony Review Unit and responded to the Area 2 Violent Crimes. Once there, the ASA reviewed the course of the investigation to this point. ASA then interviewed Redacted in the presence of reporting detectives. The reporting detectives interviewed Redacted in the following, in essence and not verbatim: Redacted Walker's homicide from hearing it on the street. Redacted retaliate against Y.M.B. because of all the shooting going on. Redacted he had no further information about the guns for 64 Redacted South Rose and the Walker homicide. December 19, 2009, at approximately 15:35 hours, the reporting detectives advised Roderick Brown of his rights per Miranda. Brown stated he understood his rights and agreed to answer questions. He related the following in essence and not verbatim. Brown related that he didn't have problems. Redacted. He stated that his nickname was Face and Redacted. The reporting detectives told Brown that he had been identified as being involved in the Walker homicide. Brown denied involvement and said that he didn't remember being on Evans. He stated that he didn't remember being behind a tree and jumping out shooting. He stated that he knew Chicken as one of the Glover boys. Redacted Glover and Lanier. Redacted unable to identify a picture of Walker. Brown was told that the reporting detectives recovered 2 of the guns used in the murder, and he was told the dates of their recoveries. Brown replied that the shooting was a misunderstanding. He stated that he was supposed to go, but he didn't. He stated that Redacted was involved in the shooting. He was asked to explain how he had been identified, and Brown stated that he couldn't. Brown stated that he told the truth and that he didn't know what happened. He repeated that he didn't have anything to do with the shooting. The interview was terminated at approximately 16:54 hours. At approximately 17:46 hours, Brown was re-interviewed and related the following in essence and not verbatim. Redacted Y.M.B. and EBT have been going on for approximately 1.5 years. Redacted fighting going on between Y.M.B. and EBT. Redacted Young Money was coming over to Eberhart with guns and people were getting put in the hospital. Redacted Y.M.B. started doing walk-up shootings and drive-bys and EBT began retaliating. Redacted didn't know the reason why Walker was killed. Redacted Lanier and Glover on Evans. Redacted they came up on Walker first and words were exchanged and that was when the shooting started. Redacted Lanier started shooting first. Redacted firearms evidence showed that there were 3 shooters. Redacted Lanier and Glover approached Walker first. Redacted Walker 1 time. Redacted shot 1 time. Redacted .22 caliber handgun. Redacted, Walker went to the ground. Redacted, Walker, after shooting at Walker, he redacted, gun back to Lanier. Gun back to Lanier. Redacted, gun that Glover used. Redacted, Lanier used a chrome gun. Redacted, approached Walker. Walker was still in the street. Redacted, shot at him. Redacted, Lanier and Glover were still shooting at Walker. Redacted, gun back to Lanier on Champlain or St. Lawrence in the alley. Wow. The interview was terminated at approximately 18:55 hours. Alright, we have another statement from an individual here. He stated that he got the gun from him at the Blue House on 64th and Rhodes. It should be noted that this is the location where redacted EBT held their guns and the same location where the firearm was recovered the day after the murder. Redacted, it came from the house. Redacted, gun made it back into the house. Redacted, Y.M.B kept coming over shooting. Redacted, Y.M.B in the past. Redacted, bullets were in the gun he used. Redacted, going to do the shooting. Redacted, were agreement and disagreements on this subject. Redacted, guns were already in the house at 64th and Rhodes. Redacted, in the house. Interview was terminated at 22:06 hours. Reporting detectives contacted the Felony Review Unit. The ASA reviewed the course of the investigation, and after a careful review of the investigation, recommended that Roderick Brown be charged with one count of first-degree murder. With the arrest and charging of Roderick Brown, the reporting detectives request that this case be classified cleared open by arrest and prosecution pending the arrest of co-offenders Lanier and Glover. So they are not letting them go either. They are just openly charged one individual here, Roderick Brown. If you have not done so already, we are nearing the end of this document, so you want to hit that subscribe button and turn your notifications on to get more paperwork dropping. We are dropping more after this. All right, we're coming down to the investigation here. Centrell Lanier was in custody in the Illinois Department of Corrections, and that Quentin Glover was in custody at Cook County Jail. Redacted. All right. Cook County Jail. Lanier and Glover were placed into custody and brought to Area 2. All right, and it lists here pretty much that they were involved in a photo lineup on January 12, 2010 at approximately 01:32 hours. The reporting detectives advised Glover of his constitutional rights. He related that he understood these rights and related the following in essence and not verbatim. The reporting detectives informed Glover that he had been identified in a lineup. He was told that he was at Area 2 because he had been identified for his participation in the shooting death of Ederick Walker. Glover was told that other people than those who viewed him in the lineup had already been interviewed by the reporting detectives and had made statements about his involvement in the shooting. Glover again responded that this was crazy. Redacted already had been interviewed and charged. Redacted. Glover was also told that he had previously been identified in photo arrays. Glover replied that he was not worried about the fact that people said he was in it. He stated that he knew for a known fact that he didn't have anything to do with the murder. When asked to explain how persons affiliated with EBT gang and the rival Y.M.B gang had both identified him as being involved, Glover said he couldn't explain it. Glover then suggested that people were putting a case on him because they didn't like him. Glover related that he knew for a known fact that he was raised better than to just shoot someone. Glover said that he had nothing to talk about because he didn't have anything to do with the shooting. He stated that he was at Area 2 for no reason and for something he had nothing to do with. He said that he was getting blamed for something he didn't do. Glover continued to deny any involvement in the murder despite being told of the course of the investigation. He repeated that he had nothing to do with the shooting and that he wanted to take a polygraph examination. Glover then stated he was done answering questions. The interview was terminated. On January 12th, at 15:10 hours, reporting detectives conducted a lineup at Area 2. Glover and Lanier participated in this lineup. The lineup was viewed by Redacted. Glover and Lanier were identified. The lineup is subject of a separate report. On January 12, 2010, at approximately 17:50 hours, the reporting detectives re-advised Glover of his constitutional rights. And Glover related the following in essence and not verbatim. Glover redacted Walker, but he didn't do it. Redacted, a subject known as Redacted, did the shooting. He stated that people only identified him because he was from the area. He again denied involvement in the shooting. He didn't offer an explanation. Redacted witness accounts of the shooting both identified him as being involved. Glover requested to take a polygraph examination. Reporting detective subsequently arranged an appointment for Glover to take a polygraph examination. Glover was transported to the polygraph unit, and examiner Figueroa Mitchell administered the examination. The reporting detectives were informed that Glover had failed the exam with deception indicated. Glover was transported to Area 2 for further investigation. Once there, reporting detectives re-interviewed Glover and he related the following in essence and not verbatim. This is crazy. Glover was told that he had failed the polygraph examination and was shown the photo array signed by witnesses in the investigation. He was confronted with other reports and evidence of the investigation. Glover redacted shooting. At this time, Glover was shown and read the video log of Redacted's interrogation and shown Redacted account and other witness accounts coincide. Glover replied that it's crazy, man, and that the investigation was just a big illusion. Wow. The interview was terminated. All right. On January 13th at 02:14 hours, Glover was briefly re-interviewed again. Glover was asked if he had been thinking about his situation in the investigation. Glover related that all he was thinking about was his life and how it had taken a 160 turn with all this stuff falling on him. Glover stated that he didn't have anything to do with this. It's a 180-degree turn. Just do with this situation. At this point, Glover requested to talk to a lawyer. Wow. The interview terminated. I mean, the reporting detectives contacted the felony review unit of the ASA, and they reviewed the course of the investigation. ASA recommended that Centrell, Lanier, and Glover be charged with one count of first-degree murder. With the arrest and subsequent charging of Centrell, Lanier, and Quentin Glover, the reporting detectives request that this investigation be closed by arrest and prosecution, man. So there you have it, man. These Glover was trying to wiggle his way out of it, and the police held steadfast, and they got their man. All right, and we're seeing some of these participating lineups, photo lineups. They were outlined in every photo lineup as individuals involved in this homicide, and these are the separate reports that were listed above as the photo lineups from in separate documents. And as we can see here, they were pointed out numerous times, man. And that takes us down to the end of our report. And this has been a T.Y.M.B Foia document breakdown. Read along if you have not done so already. Hit that subscribe button, man, and thumb up the video. We've been dropping paperwork left and right, man, just to keep you guys up to par and dispel all these rumors, man. Let me know in the comments what you think about these individuals, man, committing these homicides and how this whole war started all the way back in 2009. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about that. I'm responding to all comments, man. We all doing this. This is our 2025, man, and we cannot leave without our slogan: wake up, work out, and work for yourself, man. We out. Peace.